Well, hello everyone. This is Kevin. I have a quick little walkthrough of a GP reporting pack scenario that I think might be helpful. Hopefully, this will be something that you can take with you and utilize and expand upon and think about different ways that you are going to use PowerShell to interact with the reporting pack in your day-to-day, weekly, repetitive, automated life. Anyways, again, the Group Policy Reporting Pack is a product that we have, super popular. It's designed to go into group policy, help you understand your environment, discovery, report on things like conflicts and all kinds of stuff. And we can get into that, or you can read up on different things like that at a later time. For this scenario, it's actually pretty simple. I want to go out and grab all of the empty group policy objects. I want to find all my GPOs and only return the ones to me that are empty. And I want to show you how this works within the pipeline. So, as most of you know, through the GUI, it's just click, click, click. You select the export, you select which GPOs, which settings you want to export. You can save that data. You can run a report on everything or a subset. Here's a good example. This line here at line 13 of my script editor. Export SDM GP settings is the core commandlet for the export capability of the reporting pack. And with that, I have a few parameters. So I'm saying export GP settings, all of my GPOs. Go grab all of them, but run a report that's only showing me the empty GPOs. And dump that report into an Excel spreadsheet. That parameter report Excel, you can actually have PDF, let's see, report Excel, report Word, report PDF. I'm going to do Excel here for this example. And what it's going to do, as I just mentioned, it's going to go grab all the GPOs. It's going to find the empty ones. It's going to generate that report as a spreadsheet. And it's going to save it into this C:\reports directory that I have set as the reports path parameter in that line. So once that's done, I'll show you what this looks like. Super cool, super easy. And the beauty of PowerShell is now you can automate it. Or maybe you could just simply have this run on the second Friday of the month and send you a report. Maybe that's all you need, is you want to know what is out there. For those of you reading ahead, you probably already guess where I'm headed. Okay, so I'm going to go and I'm going to look at that reports directory. And there's my spreadsheet. Empty GPOs 7/29/2016 8/25. So there's a date timestamp automatically associated with the file name when you do those saves. That can be super handy, obviously. But there's my report. I have 17 GPOs that don't have any settings in them. 2 of those GPOs happen to be linked somewhere for some reason. But that's interesting data. Maybe I have the type of organization where people are off doing a lot of things in group policy and you need to understand what's going on. One of the coolest things about what we're doing with PowerShell is instead of just dumping the data to a report, I can actually use this switch, this parameter called report object, and that tells the system to go and get that information, but the results should just simply go to the PowerShell pipeline and not go to an actual file. So now I'll have them that I can work with after the fact. Okay, so you can see that by itself might not be super interesting, but the fact that all of those objects are in the pipeline for me to work with, that is super interesting. Another cool little tip here, or a little technique that you might find interesting. Imagine if I enclose this line in parameters, and then I can just call on the count property of the results of that commandlet. So I'm essentially saying, hey, run this commandlet and tell me how many objects will get returned into the pipeline. Right, so 17 objects. We knew that from our recent report. But interesting, that can be super helpful for folks. All right, so next step is to actually do something with those results. Now, this is simple. This is just saying, hey, I need to remove all of my empty GPOs, and I can utilize this commandlet that Microsoft provides in the group policy module. But if I had to do anything more advanced, if I needed to read security settings individually or write or modify security settings or user rights assignments or audit policy or preferences or whatever, pretty much anything other than registry, you may possibly want to do this with registry as well. But if you need to go down that path, that's a question for the SDM software's group policy automation engine, not simply the reporting pack. This is really about high-level reporting, gathering information. The details of automation, especially when it comes to writing settings, is all coming down to the GPAE, the automation engine. Okay, so there's a little tricky thing here. First off, when I run this data, or I go and run this commandlet, which you just saw, it dumps this data into the PowerShell pipeline. And I have certain properties. I have an object that's been generated that has creation time, last modified, WMI filters, policy area, GP links, some good information in here. But the data isn't necessarily presented in a way that the remove GPO commandlet would understand. So I need to do something about that. So what I do is I'm just going to take the results of this commandlet, which ultimately will be a collection. I'm going to store that in a variable called empty GPOs. So when I store that, I'm going to have all 17 objects represented as individual items in that collection. So $empty GPOs, square bracket, 0, square bracket, will be the first item. It sort of behaves like an array, as you could imagine. So now that it's in that, now that it's stored, if I were to look at empty GPOs, I can see all of those objects. If I just want to look at the first one, I can see just that first one, NM empty base. If I want to look at, actually that's not the first one, in case you didn't catch that. The first item in the array or the collection is going to be numbered 0. So you can see, I could go through those. I could say, oh, you know what's the 16th item in that array? And if I did 17, I'll probably get an error or nothing returned because there were only 17 items in the array, 0 through 16. Sorry, that was a bit of a sidetrack. All right, so now I have that data stored. I want to do something about it. The first thing I'll do is show you that now that I have that data in objects, I can do all of the cool PowerShell-y stuff. I can sort the data by the GPO name property. I can format the table so that it only shows me that one property. Or maybe let's show GPO link information as well. Link, if I can spell correctly. So I'm going to say, okay, grab the objects in that collection, sort them, and then format the table for me so that I can see the information in a meaningful way. So cool, basic PowerShell stuff, but don't forget that that's available to you. So instead of one of the tricky things is if I were to say remove GPO, and I'll do the whole commandlet here. The GPO name would be empty GPOs, and here I'm only going to do 1 because I don't want to delete all of my GPOs. If I do this, I'm probably going to throw an error. And the reason is the object that was returned by the export SDM GP settings is not the object type that remove GPO name expects. Okay, so GPO display name parameter was not what the commandlet expected. But if I look at GPO name here and I call out that piece of data specifically on those objects, remove GPO, the name is the first item in the collection of empty GPOs .GPO name, that property itself. If I just want to see what that is, that's going to be the name merge target, the name of the GPO. But I'm going to go ahead and execute remove GPO is gone. I can actually see it here, or merge target. You'll see it right there. And if I refresh my screen, merge target is now gone. So success. So again, I only did one because I wanted to do an example, but if I had removed this, that would remove every empty GPO it found in my organization. So the ability to look at those on a regular basis, find the empty GPOs that someone clearly left behind or forgot about, maybe do some filtering on the date or whatever, and now I can do something about that. So cool technique, really important to understand what you can do with PowerShell for the GP reporting pack and other SDM software solutions, because they're going to really expand your options. So thanks for listening. Hope this was helpful, and tune in soon. Thanks. Bye.